Hi, welcome to the session about professional skills marks in ACCA SBL exam. My name is Iryna McDonald and I'm going to be your presenter for today. So let's find out, why do professional skills matter? Okay, because in ACCA SBL exam, 20 out of 100 marks are available for professional skills, and therefore 1/5 of your exam depends on your ability to get those marks right. So as a result, it's crucial for us to understand what those professional skills are and how we go about demonstrating those skills. We also need to think about why those skills could help us to perform better in a wider professional domain, as an ACCA examiner has introduced those skills to make sure that you are able to demonstrate your professionalism, not just in the exam, but wider in the workplace context. And we're also going to consider how those skills translate to the accountancy and financial tasks you are likely to perform in your day-to-day role. So as a result, there will be two objectives we will look at in the session. Think about how those marks are allocated, and we're going to think about how you are going to go about gaining those marks. So let's have a look at the key issues. It is regrettable, but in the real exams, there will be many scripts that just marginally fail. 46 to 49%. It is always so disappointing and disheartening when students, having put so much effort into their studies, struggle to get over the 50 that they need. So by focusing on the professional skills marks, you ensure you achieve the result you were aiming for, you pass confidently, and as I've previously mentioned, you also gain those transferable skills that help you to perform better in your job. Every time I talk to my students about what they actually do in their day-to-day job, they tell me about the fact that they need to prepare reports to get the message across to senior management. They need to make sure that their arguments are persuasive, and in creating those persuasive arguments, they will need to look at a variety of options available to the organization that will help management to make better decisions. And that's what ACCA examiner has picked up on and said, okay, so as a result, what are the 5 crucial skills we need to make sure that both in the exam and in your financial career, you perform well? So let's have a look at those 5 resulting professional skills. First is communication. And I know many students assume that being a member of finance, you're mainly preoccupied with numbers, but it's not wholly so. As the member of finance team, you will need to get ideas across about company's financial position, company's performance. So you will need to communicate your views in writing through reports. I had students that suggested we also had to deliver training to junior members of staff, and therefore communication is crucial to be able to deliver that training. Commercial acumen is about understanding the context of your organization, the environment in which you operate. Your employers could be in a variety of different industries or sectors, whether it is in a commercial organization, public sector organization, or charity. Your advice always needs to be commercially sound. It has to work in the context, in the environment in which your organization operates. And to provide that commercial advice, you will need to analyze, understand the circumstances, understand the industry, understand the key trends that your organization is exposed to. Evaluation skills will ask you to look at a variety of different options available to your organization. Every option will have its upsides and downsides, so evaluation will help you to establish on the balance which of those options actually is the best one to go forward with. And finally, skepticism. This one tends to be a little bit hard for students because if you are skeptical, you're asked to question and doubt information provided. In many other exams you would have done up to SBL level, you just take the information given to you in a question and you progress with it. But SBL examiner will ask you to step aside and go, is this information reliable? Can I base my arguments on this information? What errors might there be in the assumptions that makes this information difficult to use? So we're going to look at each of those skills individually to make sure you fully understand what's required of you in every one of them. Let's now look at communication skill first. So SBL examiner defines communication as your ability to inform the reader. And when you're doing so, you might be using appropriate media and technology. As in, within SBL exam, you're frequently asked to prepare presentations, and therefore in CB exam format, you'll be given a tab that says presentation with a box for slides, with the box for notes that need to carry your message across. As many of you are already doing presentations in your workplace, this skill is just reinforcing the kind of things you might already be familiar with. So what will make our communication sound and to the point? We need to think about the quality of our argument. Is it compelling? Is it logical? Would it be easy for the reader, the listener, to follow through with what we're saying? And some of the concepts we might be communicating are complex, as in, if you're preparing presentation for senior management, they may not be aware with some of the terminology that you're using. So by being able to break it down, making sure that your intended audience can understand you, you're again demonstrating good communication skills. So in summary, communication is about the way you express yourself. If you are able to make clear and convincing points, if your intended audience will be able to relate to those points, you are going to be awarded those communication skills marks. Let's progress and have a look at commercial acumen. Commercial acumen is about understanding the environment in which your organization operates. So here you need to think about organizational and wider external factors. What's happening in the industry, what's happening in the country where your organization operates. You will need to think about the key factors that practically create an issue for the organization. Why might our organization be underperforming? And therefore, you will need to recommend solutions to those problems. Those solutions, again, have to be commercially viable. If an organization in a similar industry would pursue this path of action, then it's commercially viable. If your suggestion simply wouldn't work in reality, then you're not quite demonstrating this commercial acumen skill. So you need to show insight and perception. You need to demonstrate that you understand the specific aspects of that organization to be able to gain commercial acumen skills marks. So in summary, you're looking at demonstrating your awareness of wider business contexts, making sure you could address any of the issues that organization is exposed to, or consider whether those opportunities arising in your industry and environment are worth pursuing. Moving on to analysis skills. Analysis skills will require you to consider a wide range of sources of information. For those of you familiar with SBL exam, you will know that within this exam, you will have a story about a company, a scenario, usually 7 to 8 pages long. So within that scenario, you will have a number of exhibits. You will need to familiarize yourself with all of those exhibits to collect information from all of those sources to be able to demonstrate those analysis skills. Okay? So you will look at the appropriate data sources, okay? And as a result of your consideration, okay, you will think about implications of the facts given, think about the consequences of this information for the organization. So in summary, you will need to investigate and research information provided to you and think about what that means for the future of the organization, what actions organization can take to respond to the facts you've identified. With evaluation skills, we will need to consider on the balance, what is the most appropriate course of action. When you evaluate, for example, your recent restaurant visit or a recent film that you might have watched, you go, okay, those were the features that I liked, and those are the things that might need a little bit of improvement. So you're looking at pros and cons, you're looking at advantages and disadvantages. The same applies in business. We might need to evaluate those options available to the organization, looking at the positives and the negatives. So in evaluation, you're going to be assessing those organizational issues. Okay? You will need to think about the implications of the environment in which organization operates, and you will need to provide this balanced judgment as the basis of your solution or decision overall, which of the available options seem to be the best one forward. So in summary, you will need to provide a balanced assessment of the situation, thinking about this being a basis for sound decision-making for senior management. Finally, with the skepticism skill, here you will need to probe, question, or challenge. Not all the information provided to you is reliable. For example, in SBL exam, it is very common for an examiner to provide you with minutes of the board meeting where a senior member of staff, a director, makes opinions or assertions that are not quite right. So your responsibility in demonstrating skepticism would be to question, would be to doubt what that senior member of staff is saying. Similar situation will apply when you're asked to challenge information presented. For example, calculation could be given to you based on assumptions that contain errors or are just unrealistic. So you will need to explain why those assumptions are not realistic and therefore why the outcome of the calculation cannot be relied upon. So in summary, you're probing, questioning, and challenging the information or the views you're presented with in the scenario. Finally, I want to thank you for attending this quick presentation. Yeah. My name was Iryna McDonald, and I do very much hope you enjoyed that quick introduction to professional skills in SBL exam. And I hope one day I might be able to see you in my virtual class or in my physical classroom. Lots of luck in your exams.